They were ghost towns. I would have the whole city to myself. I've been trucking off and on for about 15, 18 years. I mean, you do it for a while, you find something local, you get out of it, go do something else, go back to it, man, because in the end, trucking's about the open road for me. It's just, I don't like running short hauls. I don't like running regional. I like to run. This past month, I ran coast to coast twice, just nonstop. We didn't have to keep logbooks and stuff because we're running medical freight. And it's just the open road, meeting people, going places, seeing things. I started trucking because I lived in Kentucky and there were no jobs. So the only thing available was, work in the mines or go trucking. So I started trucking and bought a truck and went on from there. I would generally do about, maybe 100,000 a year when I was running hard, running the road. Things are different now. We all have electronic logbooks. There's no way of getting around them. Before you just run 2 logs, 3 logs if you had to. You just, if they got pulled over by the DOT, you just made sure you passed him the right logbook. You were always legal. When I first started, everybody had CBs. You didn't have electronic logs. If you saw another driver on the side of the road, you could pull over and help. Now, you almost can't because of the electronic logs and you're running so hard. I've gotten fired at a job before because I went 3 minutes past my electronic log, said I'm supposed to stop, and I was in a traffic jam. And, they just zero tolerance because I understand it's the insurance, But the electronic logs make it harder on drivers in a way. In some ways, they make it easier. You don't have to run so hard. You can't run hard even though they want you to. You're like, no, I'm out of hours, so you get your 8-hour break. As a truck driver, I listen to a lot of audiobooks, just, 10, 12 hours a day. I'm listening to audiobooks, and some of them were not very good. I thought I could write a cooler story because a lot of them just don't make sense. I thought I could write something better. And I finally just sat down and tried, in the back of the truck, sitting in the sleeper with a little laptop, and I hammered something out and figured out how to sell it, market it on Amazon, and they just kind of took off. I got lucky. I caught a good publicist. I won her at an auction for $25, and she really started promoting my books for that $25. It was a charity auction. Now, I believe, this is my theory, that she was pretty upset that nobody thought she was worth more than $25, and because she was kind of new at it, and she goes, well, I'm going to show them. And she shot my books up to #1 on Amazon just from what she did, her efforts, and she's been with me ever since. I quit trucking, I guess, 1.5 years ago because the book sales were lucrative enough that I could, and we've sold almost 100,000 copies. And it got optioned for a movie, and then the option didn't get picked up. And my agent out in California said, man, if you could do a sizzler reel, which I didn't even know what that was, but it's a elevator pitch for movies, basically, a little 2-minute movie trailer, basically. And he goes, do a sizzler reel, and I'll make the rounds again. We could probably sell this because he really likes the story in the books. So I called my old boss up. I said, hey, you got an empty truck? I need to go trucking for a few months. I need to make about 10 or 15 grand to cover the cost of this movie trailer. So he threw me in a truck, and then this was in January, and all of a sudden Corona happens, and I'm running in and out of New York. We start running medical freight. And I can't go home because my wife is kind of at risk. She's had cancer. This is the first time I've been home this past week since February. But anyway, for months, we just ran medical supplies, and I just lived in the truck. During the Corona, like these guys running the Cannonball, man, they run in just phenomenal times because there's nobody out there. I was in New York City, on the island, Manhattan, riding my brakes, not because of traffic. I'm in a big rig going 70 miles an hour. I'm riding my brakes to slow down because I don't want to get a speeding ticket. That's during rush hour, quote unquote rush hour, 9 o'clock in the morning in New York. It's wide open. There were some accidents in New York, which was completely ridiculous because New York shut down. Their truck drivers were not allowed to go to work. So they brought all of us outsiders in to run New York. Come on, man. I hate running Queens and Brooklyn because it's really tight and complicated, and the low bridge signs are bald-faced liars, man. They say the bridge is 12'6", and you go under it real slow, and you're looking, the bridge is 13, it's 13'6", it's 13'8", I got plenty of room. So you're driving along, and I saw one trucker who did that, and it was under the L in Queens. A truck was flying through them. We're driving through them, no problem. All of a sudden, there's a low beam. The locals know this. The local drivers know this. Us outsiders don't. Dude, he tore the whole top of his truck off. One thing about New York, too, is they have off-side parking. You could park on one side of the street today, and then because of street sweeping or whatever their reasoning is. So it makes it okay to get a truck through there. But since nobody was working, they were allowed to use both sides of the streets. Holy cow, dude. I got 70-foot of truck running through Brooklyn, trying down these little tiny roads, trying to find a warehouse, and there's cars on both sides. And you couldn't turn. I mean, if you committed to that road, you just could not make a turn. So you had to go, and I mean, dudes were telling me horror stories about they would do that, then they'd come to a low bridge and have to back up, with 3 inches of space on both sides of you, a quarter mile to try to find a place to turn around. And it was just ridiculous. It was, the locals should have been running local freight. We picked up medical supplies in Wichita and Tulsa and all these places, and they were never really crowded to begin with, but they were ghost towns. I would have the whole city to myself. I'm going like downtown delivering a blood machine to the Red Cross or something, and there are no cars. I'm there for 20 minutes and maybe one car might drive by. The towns are just dead. It was pretty trippy. I liked it because there was no traffic. I mean, as from a truck driver's perspective, it was hammered down everywhere you went, 80 miles an hour, just anywhere through the middle of Atlanta. I drove through Atlanta at 80 miles an hour, right through the middle of town. But that was then, this is now, and traffic's back. You got exemptions if you were running medical supplies, if they were covered by the government exemption, and you didn't have to run logs. And I didn't stop at scales. I'm not sure if we were supposed to or not. I just blew by them. That's just an old trucker's trick. If you know you're overweight or your axles are out of, you're going to get a ticket if you pull in, you just blow by them. You got a 50-50 chance of them coming after you. So I'll take that over 100% chance of pulling in and getting a ticket. We did a lot of COVID testing machines, which was kind of weird. When I loaded it, it was labeled as some kind of food processor. It was a food item, like a dehydrator sort of, but they were actually using them to test COVID. When the people take they get the test, and they somehow, I don't know how it did it, but they used this food processing machine to test for COVID antibodies somehow. Everywhere we went, to the hospitals and things, we'd have to get masked up, of course, and they would run us through, they'd take our temperature and ask you all kinds of questions. And I delivered to a lot of places I wouldn't normally go to. Some places I couldn't get a truck in. I couldn't. Underground garages and things, so I'd go rent a rider truck, a little straight truck, and move this $1 million machine over to the rider truck, and then take it over. We'd hire some local help to help move it. It's on wheels, but they're still pretty heavy and expensive, and so you hired local help. The labor pool fellows come help you out. I mean, it was kind of cool to see the signs, thank you truckers, and President Trump was like, thank the truckers, and he had all the trucks out there, and that was kind of cool. But man, we were just doing our jobs. It was just, running freight. My boss actually put me in a new truck when this started. I was in an old beater, just an extra truck he had, because we got all these, I'm not sure the behind the scenes stuff, but he has a new truck, and he goes, man, if I put you in a new truck, will you kind of stick with me through the summer, to kind of help pay for it and not just quit in April like I was planning on doing? I said, yeah, it'd be cool, man. So I'm going to be working all summer, trucking all summer. I'll probably quit this fall again and go back to riding full time. A lot of these kids, when we're working on docks and things, they're kids, they're 18, 20, 25, you get to talking to them because sometimes it takes a while to unload the truck. And they were like me, they maybe did or didn't graduate high school. They're in a dead-end job. They don't have a lot of prospects. Man, I tell them about trucking. I brag on it because, it's a good career. You don't have to live on the road. I love the road. I like being out, but, you can deliver bread, you can, run auto parts, and all these careers, all these truck driving jobs, some of them are local, you're home every day, and they make really good money because you're a professional, You got to run that $1 million worth of equipment and freight and get it there safely, and it's not the most glamorous job, but I love driving, so to me it's a great job. It's a dream job almost.
If you love VINwiki, you'll have heard us talk about minimizing ownership cost on exotic cars. But the guys at Exotic Car Hacks have developed a system, an educational resource that you can access now using exoticcarhacks.com/VINwiki and get the best membership rates that they've offered since Black Friday. It shows you how to leverage financing, minimize what you pay, maximize how you sell it, and minimize the cost while you've got it. So be sure to join their community of owners and enthusiasts today at exoticcarhacks.com/VINwiki, and it'll be easier than ever to buy, own, and sell and love the car of your dreams.